Sebastian Aho, second of the game, and we're tied at 3.
How do you spell resilient?
Jarvis shoots and scores! You can't touch Seth Jarvis, he's red hot!
Can you say wheelhouse for Seth Jarvis? I mean, I think he looks a little bit like Wild Thing in Major League, and right now in the goal scoring department, he is Wild Thing.
You know, I've seen him wear the glasses, so maybe. Hi, everyone. It's the Canes Corner podcast. I am Adam Gold. Thanks for spending some time. Thanks for your patience. We are 27 minutes later than our scheduled starting time. I want to thank the folks in Washington for making it a longer game. Folks meaning the Capitals and the Hurricanes. So we'll get to as much of it as we can in our allotted window. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy's Hannah and his crew, although I would imagine maybe somebody calls him Sammy Crew. They do a great job. For all of your exterior home improvement needs, they're there for you. All right, this was a weird game. It was unstructured. It was all over the place. It was a bit sloppy. Certainly wasn't a bad game. But when you allow 3 power play goals, it's hard to win. Even when you score 6 goals, believe it or not, it's hard to win when you allow 3 power play goals. I thought Washington was really good. And I thought Washington brought the fight to the game that they were supposed to. I think Carolina did too. I think Washington just played it a little bit more, and maybe it was by design that they were just going to make it more of a street fight. And I don't mean that in the punching sense, although they were a little bit more physical than Carolina. Carolina eventually matched that in the third period. Look, I think it's a good point. It's a good point. Could have been 2. Carolina had a 4-3 lead entering the third period that they could not hold. They had a 2-1 lead entering the second period that they could not hold. And largely, I don't really fault anyone. It's one of those weird games where you allow 6 goals and you go, yeah, not much, not sure what more you could have done there. Just not. The Sonny Milano juggling goal, I don't know how you stop that. I mean, utter hand-eye brilliance there. The Connor McMichael goal that made it 5-4 Washington. I don't know what more Brady Skjei can do. He wins the net front. He completely blocks McMichael from the puck. The shot hits Skjei in the ass. It somehow bounces behind him right to McMichael, who has an easy tap in. I mean, it's just sometimes the game is dumb. Just like Sebastian Aho deflecting a puck in off his shin to tie it at 6. Anyway, not really put off by much of it at all. So we'll talk about some things, shall we? I mean, honestly, the game is worth just laughing at more than anything else. So I've never seen a second period like this. I've been watching hockey since I was 6, 7. As a kid growing up, loving the New York Islanders, and I've told this many, many, many times. I became an Islander fan because all my friends were Rangers fans. And I chose better. I chose the Islanders. I think it was their second year in the league. 75, something like 76. And by the time we got to 1980, we were winning all sorts of Stanley Cups. Anyway, but I've been watching hockey a long, long, long time. And I've never seen a period like that. I've seen a team score 5 goals in 8 minutes. I saw Carolina do that to Vancouver at PNC Arena. I'm trying to think. This goes back about 7 years. This is pre-Rod Brindamore, I believe. They came out in the third period down 5-2. I think they scored 5 goals to take the lead. Actually, they might have been down 4, scored 5 goals to take a lead, then gave the lead back. It's weird. The whole thing was strange. So I've seen some wild stuff, but I have not seen 2 goals each way and 2 goals wiped away. And we'll talk about I actually thought both calls were the right calls. Maybe not for the right reason, but for the right. I think they ultimately got the calls right. So let's just go through the first one, which was the goaltender interference on Yevgeny Kuznetsov. And this is a goal that would have made it 3-1 Carolina. I don't know if you get a 2-goal lead in this game, if it would have mattered, to be honest, because the game was stupid. Kuznetsov enters the paint by himself. Not by himself, but on his own. And does John Carlson kind of help him either stay there or get into Darcy Kemper? I don't know. Personally, I think the contact was really created by Kemper, but the goaltender is allowed to move his glove, right? So it's hard for me to really. I just can't argue with the call. I think they ultimately got the call right. I think the contact was light, but this is the nature of goaltender interference. And I'd like to think that the score didn't dictate whether or not that goal was wiped off or not, but they called it a good goal, and then it was challenged for goaltender interference. And because Kuznetsov entered the crease first on his own, I just thought at that point, if there was any contact at all, they were always going to give it. And even though there wasn't a lot of contact, and I thought it was probably initiated by Kemper, I just didn't think it was going to stand. So not surprised there. The other one was Svechnikov was offside. He wasn't a lot offside, but you don't have to be a lot offside. You just have to be offside. So he was offside. So it didn't. That one didn't bother me. Now, there was a goal later that Carolina probably could have challenged. I forget which one, because there were so many for goaltender interference. But it's one of those that we go, yeah, that's not goaltender interference. I mean, the problem is, and I think this is really what dictated Rod not challenging it. They're only down a goal. There were goals to be had. And Washington's power play had scored 3 times. And the penalty for getting it wrong would have been too much for Rod, I think. Remember when he wasn't going to challenge because he knew, he was told that it would be a 4-on-3 power play and not a 5-on-4, and then he challenged and it was a 5-on-4? Rod didn't want to lose a challenge and then ultimately have to kill off Washington's power play. And again, their power play was good tonight, and Carolina's penalty kill wasn't on top of their game tonight. There were a lot of instances on the power play, on the penalty kill, where they just could not get pucks out. At the very end of the Sebastian Aho double minor, Jordan Staal had the puck on his stick and couldn't get it out. There was a lot of that tonight. I talked to Rod Brindamore earlier today, and this was the 13th set of back-to-backs. By the way, I'm going to read the records in a minute. This was the 13th set of back-to-back games the Hurricanes have played this year. And I don't know how that relates. It's probably about the same everywhere. So it's not like I'm saying, oh, because Hurricanes have played so many back-to-backs. I'm not saying that. But this is the 13th time that they've been in a back-to-back situation. And I just think they played the game a little bit mentally tired. I thought that was obvious against Philadelphia. By the way, if this matters to you, the Hurricanes will not practice tomorrow. And with a 6 o'clock start, I won't be surprised if they don't do a morning skate on Sunday. They didn't have a morning skate today in Washington. No, did they have? No, they didn't have a morning skate today in Washington. And they obviously didn't practice. No, they wouldn't do a morning skate because they played last night. So was yesterday at home to Philadelphia where they didn't do a morning skate, and they didn't practice the day before after the game against the Islanders in New York. So right now they're just trying to catch their breath. And there's still one more set of back-to-backs, but it doesn't come until April. So it's going to ease up a little bit. It's going to be a little bit more normal. The Hurricanes will play Sunday against Toronto. Then Tuesday, they'll be in Pittsburgh for the Jake Guentzel return tour. Then they're back here on Thursday against Detroit. Then they're Saturday in Montreal. And after that Saturday game, the Hurricanes have 4 days off. They don't play again until the following Thursday. So it'll be a good there. So now the schedule becomes a little bit more normal and not, machine gun style. And I do think that I just think it's starting to wear on them. In the bigger picture, Hurricanes have played 23 games in 45 days. It's better than one every other day. And they're also these 2 games here. Remember, they played 2 games last weekend. They played Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So 6 games in 9 days. That's a lot of hockey. It's really hard to maintain your all of your discipline in that. So I'm not put off by what I saw tonight. It was entertaining. It was un-Hurricanes like, but sometimes we're gonna have games like that. So here's what Sebastian Aho is about. So he gets goals 28, 29, and 30 tonight. He has 79 points in, I think, 68 games. I think it's 68 games, yes. And he is a plus 30 this season. I mean, when you score a lot of goals at 5-on-5, you're going to be plus a lot. He is plus 30. Jake Guentzel, since his arrival and insertion into the lineup after a few games watching with an injury. He's played 7 games. He's got 2 goals, 8 assists, 10 points, and he's a plus 11. It's plus 11 in 7 games. Okay. Aho, Jarvis, and Guentzel were great again tonight, and it's a handful. That line is a handful. They can skate. They're all super smart, and I just think they fit. The pieces definitely fit on that line. Jarvis scored his 27th goal tonight, and dude's going to get paid. He's going to be able to pay off the Volkswagen when the season when his contract hits in the offseason. The only question with Jarvis, and I think I know the team's preference. Well, I know the team's. I know both preferences. Preference is to do an 8-year deal now. And that's what I think they should do. I think the Hurricanes should do an 8-year deal today. Because the 8-year deal, if you wait, the number's only going to go up. But of course, if you're Seth Jarvis and his agent is the same agent that is Sebastian Aho's agent, by the way. If you're Seth Jarvis, do you do the 8-year deal now? Figuring that, who knows, 2 years from now, you might be underpaid? It's worth considering, but here's what I think would be a fair number for Seth Jarvis. So Andrei Svechnikov gets $7.75 million a year. I think Seth Jarvis is a better player, and I'll bet most of you do too. As much as we love Andrei, Seth's a better player. And he might be a significantly better player. And that's more about Seth than it is about Andrei, although 37 contributes. I think if the Hurricanes could get him for 8.5 times 8, I think they should do it. I think they should do it. And I think that Necas, if he continues to play the way he's playing, and I thought he was good tonight, I think Necas could be in the Svech area. Here's what I ultimately think they do with Marty. I think he becomes a shorter deal, and then he eventually leaves via free agency. That's what I think. It's going to be hard for them to commit all of that money. And they've talked about thinking they have a chance to sign Jake Guentzel. Maybe you do, but that ain't going to be till July. I think there is 1,000,000% chance that Jake Guentzel is a free agent on July 1. Doesn't mean Carolina won't be able to sign him, but I think he is a free agent on July 1. I do. And if he doesn't come back to the Hurricanes, that's okay, because they have a chance to win a Stanley Cup because he's there, and that's fine. But I was just marveling at the numbers that Aho and Jarvis and Guentzel are putting up. And even though one of the goals, the Jarvis goal, was a power play goal, all three guys were on the ice. That's a continuation of their chemistry from 5-on-5. And my gosh, have they been good at 5-on-5. We have such high standards for Aho that when he is not producing points, and he went through about a 4-game stretch where he really wasn't, where he wasn't the great Sebastian Aho. But when he's skating like he did tonight, and you could see it from the beginning, it's awesome. And that line fits very well. It's kind of hard to praise defense when you lose 7-6 in a shootout, but I thought Jaccob Slavin was good tonight. I thought Skjei was good tonight. I do want to talk a little bit about Brett Pesce. And I'll do that in a second. But I thought Slavin was very good tonight. And there's just sometimes the bounces are just weird, and goals are going to get scored. So, but I thought there were guys that really had a good game, and I'm just not going to get too bent out of shape over all of it. I do want to mention, and let me get to Pesce. Let me get to the situation with Brett Pesce. So Pesce, I forget the sequence and the time of the game even, but it was right before the goal. Actually, I think it was before the goal that made it 5-4, right? Wasn't it before the shot off Skjei's shorts, spelled Skjorts? So it was that sequence. Whether Pesce blocked a shot or he just turned the wrong way, whatever, he goes down in a heap. He can't get up. He eventually does get up, struggles to get up, grab his stick, and try to play defense, but he could barely move. So earlier in the year, I forget the game, a player on the defensive end blocked a shot and went down in a heap. And the officials, because he was in a vulnerable position, blew the whistle. And he eventually skated off with some help, but he skated off. And he came back the next shift. So here's what that tells me. That tells me there's no incentive for you to struggle to your feet, to struggle off the ice while play resumes. While play continues, actually, not resumes. That's what it tells me. Which, in the interest of player safety, I understand. And I'm not criticizing the referees for that, the referee in that game for stopping the play. That's we'll just use the word humane. That's the humane thing to do. But Pesce was clearly immobile. If Pesce stays down, like in the fetal position, does the referee blow his whistle and stop play? If that's the case, that goal does not happen. And this is where you're victimized by your desire to not let your teammates down, to get up and do what it takes. That's my read on the situation. And so they're in essence encouraging embellishment, which we kind of saw tonight. I forget the player who clearly threw himself down to the ice and got a penalty. They called it on, I think they called it on Aho for interference, which I just didn't understand. It might have been Svechnikov, don't know. No rhyme or reason why they make some of the calls they make. I'm not as bullish on tonight's officiating in terms of a negative as some of you, but I mean, I've been pretty critical of the referees. I thought they got both overturned goals correct based on the rule as best we know it. I do wish that Rod had challenged, but I understand why he didn't challenge for goaltender interference. There was undoubtedly skate-on-skate contact, but how much? And if you lose, not only are you down a goal, but you're throwing Washington's power play, which had already scored 3 times, back on the ice. So I would not want to do it. I would not. So, okay. There are people here who have questions about Andrei Svechnikov. So let's spend 2 minutes talking about number 37, who I thought was in many ways better tonight. We're just going to have to get through it. He's just going to have to get through it. And at some point, Andrei will get back to being Andrei. I'm going to draw a comparison, and I don't mean to say that this guy is as good as this other athlete is as good, but here's the comparison I'm going to use for Andrei. Svechnikov, in many ways, fights his confidence more than you could ever imagine for somebody who appears as confident as he is. I've always thought that Serena Williams, it's not that she didn't believe in herself, it's that when it wasn't perfect for her, she sometimes got inside her own head and made things worse. And I think Andrei does that. I think Andrei has a hard time dealing with the normal ebbs and flows of production. The silly penalties you would have hoped would have been gone by now. We all agree. But the other stuff, we don't need 2 points a night from Andrei. You don't. What you need is a steady flow of production all year. Like, to be honest, while Aho goes through occasional lapses of production, yeah, he doesn't really. If you looked at it, he doesn't really. But boy, Andrei goes through, droughts. And even this stretch, if you went and looked, oh, he's got this goal, Yeah, 3 of his last 4 goals were into an empty net. They count as goals, but we all know that they're gifts. So he hasn't been, other than that 15-game stretch when he came out of the second injury, he hasn't been super productive. And I think a lot of that is he's fighting his own confidence. We haven't seen too many, like, Andrei really good shot attempts. We haven't seen the Andrei one-timer in a while. And they need him to be that. We're not talking about justifying a salary here either. I mean, over time, we're going to talk about it in those terms if he's not better. But this team's trying to win a Stanley Cup. It's going to be hard to win it if Andrei is not. If Andrei's just a passenger, it's going to be hard to win the cup. It's also going to be hard. I'll say this out loud. It's going to be hard for Andrei to keep his spot on that line too. I don't love Teuvo Teravainen on it because I think Teravainen and Kuznetsov, it's going to be a fight to see who doesn't shoot the puck when they should. You know, they can just keep giving it to Necas. He'll shoot it. Kuznetsov and Necas definitely go together. And I think Andrei, with his big body, can bang it around and be a true power forward. I think Andrei really fits there. But the only way he's going to stay there is if he plays well. And he's got to get a little bit of confidence somewhere. So he needs a couple of breaks. And if he gets a couple, I think you'll see Andrei kick on, in which case you'll have the Aho line, which has been amazing. The Kuznetsov line, again, I keep saying it, it's going to be fun for both teams. Hopefully more fun for the Hurricanes than for whoever the Hurricanes are playing. Necas is still playing at a high level, and I hope he continues because he's super fun to watch. He got some penalty kill time tonight, too. So I think one of the really cool things to see would be Necas reclaiming some penalty kill duties. Now, I think he was in the on the ice when Aho was in the box. There's a penalty killer gone. Jesper Fast is hurt. There's a penalty killer gone. So there's opportunity there. There was an opportunity for Necas to get back on the ice. I saw Kotkaniemi killing penalty tonight. But if Necas could get kind of reclaim that too, because there was a time a couple of years ago where he was part of the penalty kill. And because he's such a great skater, he's so fast. And I think he's got generally good instincts. If he could do that, that would be awesome. But he had a little bit of an opportunity tonight. Anyway, I just loved the way he's played. So there's another guy that's probably not moving off the spot he's at. So Teuvo Teravainen, this is going to sound weird. I don't want to be a fourth line winger, even though that's a third scoring line whenever Jack Drury comes back and is healthy. And Fost goes back to where he is. Svechnikov is probably going to go back to the left side of Kuznetsov and Necas because it probably fits better. And then you're going to have Drury, Teravainen, and Nason. I mean, that line should score goals, right? So, and it should give Carolina a huge advantage. This is the year. This set it up. This is the year to win a Stanley Cup. So, but anyway, I hope Pesce's okay, because I didn't think Pesce moved well at all after that. So we'll have to find out. We'll know something's up if he's not in the lineup on Sunday against Toronto, but I think that might be a possibility, because I didn't think he was moving great after that. All right, we're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. You should check them out. aluminumcompany.com for all of your home exterior needs. I will leave you with this stat. Hurricanes in back-to-backs this year. In the two games combined, 17 wins, 5 losses, 4 overtime or shootout losses. 17, 5, and 4 in 13 back-to-backs. The record in the first half, 10-3. The record in the back half, 7-2-4. 20 points in the first half, 18 points in the second. I think you take that, no? I think you take it. If I had enough time, maybe I'll give one of you. Who wants to take that assignment? If you want to take that assignment, tell me what the Rangers are in back-to-backs. Tell me what Boston and Florida are in back-to-backs. Let's have somebody do that. And then tweet it at me. Or send me an email at agoldfan. agoldfan@me.com. agoldfan@me.com. Or you can tweet it to me at agoldfan. There you go. I've given. You'll be my research department. All right, we got to go. Appreciate everything. We'll see everybody on Sunday night after the Canes take on the Maple Leafs for the final time in 2024 at PNC Arena. Good night.